Too many people are living their lives like they're driving forward with their eyes glued to the rear-view mirror. They're holding on to pain, regret, mistakes, and failures that should have been left behind years ago. And because of that, they never get to experience the fullness of what's in front of them. Let me tell you something. Your past is not your prison unless you decide to lock yourself in it. Your past is not your identity unless you choose to wear it like a badge. The only reason it feels so heavy is because you keep carrying it with you when it should have been dropped a long time ago. Every single one of us has been hurt. Every single one of us has failed. Every single one of us has moments we wish we could rewrite. But the truth is, you can't rewrite yesterday. You can't undo what's been done. You can't say what's been said. The past is already written and the ink has dried. But what you can do is take control of today. And by doing that, you can create a future that is so much greater than your past ever was. Think about this. Your future doesn't care about your excuses. Your future doesn't care about your old wounds. Your future doesn't care about the stories you keep telling yourself about why you can't. Your future only cares about one thing, what you're willing to do right now. And if you keep replaying old memories, old failures, old heartbreaks, you're robbing yourself of the energy that was meant to build something extraordinary ahead. The reason most people stay stuck is because they've confused their history with their destiny. Just because something happened in your past doesn't mean it has to keep happening in your future. Just because you failed before doesn't mean you're a failure. Just because someone left you doesn't mean you're unworthy of love. Just because you made bad decisions doesn't mean you're incapable of making powerful ones now. You are not your mistakes. You are not your pain. You are not your past. You are the architect of your future, and every single choice you make from this moment forward is laying down the bricks of that future. But here's the truth. If you keep staring backward, you'll trip over what's in front of you. If you keep dragging the weight of yesterday, you'll never have the strength to run toward tomorrow. The past is supposed to be your lesson, not your life sentence. It's supposed to shape you, not shackle you. Stop feeding the old story and start writing a new one. When you wake up every morning, you've been given a new opportunity, a blank page, a fresh chance to design the life you actually want. But most people waste it because they're too busy reliving a life they don't even like. You've got to decide, are you going to keep replaying the same old movie, or are you finally going to direct a new one? The future belongs to the bold, the ones who have the courage to let go. Let go of the bitterness. Let go of the regret. Let go of the shame. Let go of the illusion that the past could have been any different. It happened. It's over. Now the only question is, what are you going to do with the time that's still in your hands? Energy flows where focus goes. If you focus on your past, you'll stay stuck in it. If you focus on your future, you'll move toward it. Don't waste another second looking backward. The world is waiting for what you can create, who you can become, and the impact only you can make your past is a lesson, not a life sentence. Too many people get trapped in the belief that because something happened to them before, it must continue to define who they are and who they can become. They let one chapter of their life dictate the whole story, forgetting that a single moment does not determine the entirety of a lifetime. What you went through, the pain, the disappointment, the heartbreak, the failure, it was real. It mattered, but it does not own you unless you allow it to. The past is simply information. It's feedback. It's the universe showing you patterns, giving you lessons, offering you experiences to grow from. Yet most people don't see it that way. They attach themselves to the pain so tightly that they begin to wear it as an identity. Instead of saying, I went through failure, they say, I am a failure. Instead of saying, I experienced rejection, they say, I am unworthy. They merge what happened to them with who they are, and in doing so, they give away their power. The truth is, your past was never meant to imprison you. It was meant to educate you. Think about how you learned to walk as a child. You fell, you stumbled, you crashed down over and over again, yet each fall was not a punishment. It was instruction. Your body was learning balance, coordination, strength. The falling was essential to the walking. In the same way, the setbacks of your life are not a verdict against you. They are the falling down moments that prepare you to rise stronger. They are meant to shape you, not shackle you. But if you keep rehearsing the story of your pain, if you keep clinging to the disappointment, you trap yourself in a cycle of repetition, and life becomes less about progress and more about reliving the same wounds over and over. When you see your past as a life sentence, you lock yourself into a cell of your own making. You start building walls around yourself, walls made of fear, regret, shame, and doubt. And those walls grow higher and thicker every time you replay what went wrong. Before long, you can't see what's outside of them. You stop believing in possibility. You stop chasing new opportunities, and you begin to accept that this is all life has for you. That's the tragedy of letting your past become your prison. But when you shift your perspective and choose to see every mistake as a message, every failure as feedback, every heartbreak as training for resilience, those walls begin to crumble. You realize that the key to freedom was always in your pocket. It's the decision to learn instead of lament, to grow instead of grieve endlessly, to move forward instead of staying stuck. People carry the weight of their past on their shoulders like it's mandatory. They relive conversations that ended years ago. They keep scars alive by scratching them open in their minds. They give space in their present to ghosts that should have been laid to rest long ago. And every ounce of energy they give to what's gone is energy stolen from what's possible. You can't create the future you want if you're still bleeding from wounds you refuse to heal. Healing doesn't mean forgetting. Healing doesn't mean pretending it never happened. Healing means you decide to extract the wisdom, take the lesson, and leave the rest behind. It means you acknowledge what you went through, but you refuse to let it dictate where you're going every single day. You are given a choice. You can either carry yesterday's baggage into today and let it weigh you down, or you can set it down and walk lighter, freer, and stronger into your future. The past will always be part of your story, but it doesn't need to be the chapter you keep rereading. Think of it as a book. You wouldn't buy a novel and read the same page for the rest of your life, so why do that with your own? You must be willing to turn the page. You must be willing to close chapters that are no longer serving you and start writing new ones filled with growth, love, courage, and vision. The lesson is already written. The sentence is not. And you get to decide what happens in the next chapter of your life. Energy flows where focus goes. And the truth is, most people spend their lives feeding the wrong direction. They give all their attention to what went wrong, to what they lost, to what hurt them, and then wonder why they feel stuck in the same patterns year after year. Your mind is like a magnifying glass. Whatever you put it on grows. If you magnify fear, it expands. If you magnify regret, it becomes heavier. If you magnify your pain, it becomes your whole identity. But if you decide to shift that focus toward possibility, toward growth, toward the vision of what you want to build, then suddenly your energy ignites in a new way. You begin to feel momentum because the human brain and body follow the direction of attention. What you dwell on is where you live. If you keep dwelling on the past, you end up living in it. But if you put your energy into the future, you begin to create it. Think about it like this. When you're driving, your car goes where your eyes are pointed. If you stare into the rear view mirror, you're not only distracted, you're in danger. You can't steer forward with your head turned backward. Yet that's what so many people do with their lives. They're trying to move ahead while their energy is completely absorbed by what's behind them. And then they wonder why progress feels impossible. It's not because they don't have the potential, it's because they haven't redirected their focus. Wherever your attention goes, your emotions follow. And wherever your emotions go, your actions follow. It's a chain reaction. So when your attention is locked on regret or failure, your emotions stay heavy, your actions stay limited, and your life stays the same. But if your attention is fixed on vision, your emotions rise, your actions expand, and your results transform. This is why the most important decision you can make is not what happened to you, but what you're choosing to focus on right now. Are you feeding the story of limitation or the story of possibility? Are you giving your energy to what you lost or to what you can still gain? Every day is a fork in the road between the old narrative and the new one. And the mind is powerful. It will amplify whatever you feed it. If you constantly tell yourself you're broken, your focus will find evidence to prove it. If you decide to focus on how resilient you are, your focus will begin to pull proof from your life that you can overcome. It's not about ignoring reality. It's about choosing where to direct your finite energy so it builds something instead of destroying you from the inside. Your focus is like sunlight. On its own, sunlight warms everything it touches, but if you take a magnifying glass and aim that light, it becomes fire. Your energy works the same way. Scattered focus keeps you lukewarm, but concentrated focus creates results that feel like fire, unstoppable and transformative. And if you're constantly burning energy on the past, on what you cannot change, you have nothing left to ignite the future. That's why people feel drained without ever moving forward. It's not because they lack power. It's because their power is being poured into the wrong direction. You have to reclaim that power by choosing consciously where you put your attention. The secret is to ask yourself different questions. If you keep asking, why did this happen to me? Or what if I had done it differently? You're directing energy into a black hole that can never give you answers that move you forward. But if you start asking, what can I do with this? What can I build from here? What is the next step I can take today? Then you redirect your focus toward growth. And once your focus shifts, your energy follows, and momentum starts to build. This is how transformation begins, not by wishing the past were different, but by pouring your energy into creating a different future. The moment you realize energy flows where focus goes, everything changes. Because suddenly, you understand that you don't need to wait for the past to release you. You need to release it by starving it of your attention. You don't need to wait for circumstances to change. You can change the lens through which you see them. Where your focus goes is where your life goes. If you want power, growth, joy, and freedom, then you must direct your focus forward and pour your energy into the vision of the life you want to create. You are not your mistakes. This is one of the most liberating truths you can ever embrace. Yet it's also one of the hardest for people to believe because society, culture, and even our own inner voice often tell us otherwise. Every time you stumble, every time you fail, every time you make a decision that leads to pain or disappointment, that voice in your head whispers, "See, this is who you are." But the reality is, your mistakes are events, not identities. They are moments in time, not definitions of your worth. They are lessons, not labels. You can carry them as anchors that hold you down, or you can use them as stepping stones that lift you higher. The choice is yours. The problem is that most people don't separate what they've done from who they are. They merge their actions with their identity. If they fail in business, they decide they are failures. If they experience rejection, they decide they are unlovable. If they lose control once, they decide they are weak. But these are lies created by repetition. Just because something happened doesn't mean it is you. You are not your worst moment. You are not your darkest decision. You are not the sum of your errors. You are the one who is capable of learning, adapting, and rising from those errors. In fact, every mistake you've ever made has carried with it a lesson that, if embraced, makes you wiser, sharper, and more resilient. The problem isn't that you made mistakes. The problem is when you let them define your identity instead of refining your character. Think about the people who inspire the world, the leaders, the innovators, the creators who change history. Every one of them has a trail of mistakes behind them. Some failed in business multiple times before succeeding. Some experienced rejection after rejection before being celebrated. Some made choices that nearly ruined them before they discovered the strength to rebuild. What set them apart wasn't perfection. It was their refusal to let mistakes dictate who they were. They treated mistakes as data, as feedback, as signals pointing them toward growth. They understood that failure isn't fatal unless you make it final, and it isn't final unless you stop moving forward. If you're still breathing, if you're still standing, then you have the chance to learn and create something new. But you can only do that when you stop confusing what you've done with who you are. Mistakes are teachers. They are brutal at times, but they carry wisdom that no book, no lecture, no advice can give you. They reveal what doesn't work so you can discover what does. They expose your blind spots so you can grow awareness. They push you to confront weaknesses so you can cultivate strength. Without mistakes, you would remain stagnant, stuck in the illusion of safety but never discovering your true potential. Yet so many people run from mistakes, bury them, deny them, or worse. Allow them to become the voice in their head that tells them they'll never be enough. That is like refusing to listen to a teacher who's giving you the exact lessons you need to advance to the next level. You don't fail because of mistakes. You fail because you stop learning from them. You must separate your identity from your actions. What you did is not who you are. Who you are is greater, deeper, more complex, and more powerful than any single choice you've made. When you realize this, you start to see mistakes differently. You stop treating them as permanent scars and start seeing them as temporary reminders. Reminders that you were willing to try. Reminders that you had the courage to step out. Reminders that you are still human and still evolving. And if you choose, those reminders can fuel you instead of shame you. They can become proof of your resilience instead of evidence of your inadequacy every time you hold onto a mistake as your identity. You shrink your future to the size of your past. You limit yourself to the boundaries of what went wrong instead of expanding into what could go right. But when you finally see that you are not your mistakes, you unlock the freedom to design a future that isn't chained to yesterday. You give yourself permission to grow, to rise, to create again, to try again, to believe again. The mistakes remain as part of your history, but they no longer dictate your destiny. They no longer whisper lies about your worth. They simply sit behind you as proof that you dared to live, to risk, to reach, and to grow. The future only cares about what you do now. It doesn't care about the excuses you've repeated for years. It doesn't care about the pain you've carried or the regrets you've been holding onto. It doesn't care about the story you keep telling yourself about why you can't or why it's too late. The future doesn't wait for your permission. It's being created every single day, with or without your participation. Every action you take in this moment is shaping it. Every choice you make, whether intentional or by default, is laying the foundation for what's ahead. Yet most people waste their present moment, either staring backward at what can't be changed or numbing themselves in distraction, while the future quietly takes shape without their input. The future is not built by wishing. It is built by doing. And what you do right now is the only currency that matters. People often say they'll change tomorrow, that they'll start when they feel ready, that they'll take action when things calm down. But tomorrow is an illusion that never comes. The only time that exists is now, and the future you want will only arrive if you choose to act now. Waiting doesn't build anything. Wishing doesn't create anything. Excuses don't construct the life you want. Action does. The decision to take one step forward today, no matter how small, is infinitely more powerful than 1,000 promises to start someday. Because someday never arrives, but today is here. And the choices you make today are the seeds that grow into the reality you live in tomorrow. The future does not reward potential. It rewards execution. You can have all the talent in the world, all the dreams in your mind, all the ideas in your heart, But if you don't translate them into action, they die inside you. The graveyard is full of dreams that never saw life because people were waiting for the perfect time, for the perfect conditions, for certainty that never exists. The truth is, there is no perfect moment. There is only now, and the future takes shape from what you're willing to commit to in this very second. The actions you avoid today are the regrets you carry tomorrow. The discipline you practice today is the freedom you experience tomorrow. The risks you take today are the opportunities you reap tomorrow. The future is nothing more than the accumulation of today's choices. If you want to know what your future looks like, look at your daily action. Not your intentions, not your wishes, not your hopes, but your actual behaviors. Do they align with the future you claim you want? If they don't, then that future will never arrive. People love to dream of a better life, but dreaming doesn't move you closer unless it's paired with execution. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is not measured in years, it's measured in choices. Every choice either builds a bridge toward your vision or digs a deeper hole into stagnation. And you get to decide which one you're building every single day. The future doesn't care about the reasons you haven't acted yet. It doesn't care about how hard it's been. It doesn't care how unfair life was to you. The future only listens to action. If you want to be healthier, what matters is whether you move today. If you want to build wealth, what matters is whether you invest today. If you want stronger relationships, what matters is whether you show up with love and presence today. You don't change the future by thinking about it. You change it by doing something in the present that aligns with it. This is the raw, unfiltered truth. The future is not waiting for you to feel ready. It is waiting for you to decide and to move. Every second you spend locked in indecision is a second that could have been shaping the life you want. The clock doesn't stop because you're hesitating. Time moves whether you act or not, and if you fail to choose, life will choose for you. The habits you practice today are constructing your destiny brick by brick. The conversations you have, the energy you give, the risks you take, the courage you show, these are the blueprints of your future. And whether you realize it or not, you are building something right now. The question is, are you building the life you want or the life you're settling for let go to grow? It sounds simple, but it is one of the hardest things a human being can do because letting go means loosening your grip on the familiar, even when the familiar is painful. People cling to regret, to bitterness, to shame, because at least it feels known, at least it feels predictable. The unknown of the future feels frightening, so they would rather keep reliving the pain of the past. But here's the truth. You cannot carry yesterday's weight into tomorrow and expect to run freely. You cannot plant new seeds in soil that is already cluttered with weeds. Growth demands space, and space only comes when you release what no longer serves you. Bitterness is one of the heaviest chains people carry. Someone hurt them, betrayed them, left them, and they hold onto that wound like it's a trophy. They replay the betrayal in their mind, feeding it, watering it, keeping it alive long after the person who caused it has moved on. But bitterness is poison you drink, hoping the other person will suffer. It doesn't punish them, it punishes you. It steals your joy, clouds your vision, and keeps your heart locked away from the possibilities of love and connection. To grow, you have to let it go, not because they deserve forgiveness, but because you deserve freedom. Regret is another chain. People get stuck replaying the decisions they wish they made differently, the opportunities they missed, the mistakes they can't stop thinking about. They torture themselves with what-if scenarios as if thinking about it long enough will rewrite history. But regret doesn't change the past. It only ruins the present and blinds you to the future. Growth can't happen in a mind that is constantly dragging yesterday's shadows into today's light. Regret has to be released so that the lessons can be kept and the pain can be discarded. Letting go of regret doesn't mean you don't care. It means you've chosen to extract the wisdom and stop carrying the weight that is crushing your potential. Shame is the quietest but most destructive chain of them all. Unlike bitterness or regret, which are directed outward or backward, shame is inward. It's the voice that tells you that you are unworthy, that you are broken, that you don't deserve more. Shame convinces people to play small, to hide, to avoid stepping into the fullness of their power. But shame is a lie, and it thrives only when you feed it with secrecy and silence. The moment you decide to let go of shame, to expose it to the light by speaking truth, by facing it, by no longer allowing it to define your identity, you begin to grow into the person you were meant to be. Freedom from shame is not found in perfection. It's found in acceptance and courage. It's the decision to stop allowing yesterday's mistakes to dictate tomorrow's. Growth requires release. You cannot grab hold of new opportunities if your fists are clenched around old pain. You cannot step into new environments if your feet are shackled to the past. You cannot evolve into the highest version of yourself if you are dragging dead weight everywhere you go. Imagine trying to climb a mountain with bags full of rocks strapped to your back. Every step would feel impossible, not because the mountain is too steep, but because you refuse to drop the weight. Life is the same way. Most people think their goals are impossible when the truth is, they are just carrying too much of what they no longer need. The climb gets easier when you let go. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean pretending the pain never happened. It doesn't mean what you went through didn't matter. It means you refuse to let it control you any longer. It means you decide that your future is worth more than your attachment to the past. It means you release the grip on what's behind you so you can stretch your hands toward what's ahead. And in that release, something powerful happens. You create space. Space for love, for growth, for possibility, for healing, for abundance. Growth is always waiting, but it requires room to take root. If you want a bigger life, a stronger future, a better version of yourself, you have to clear the ground by letting go of what is choking your potential.